minutes. So
it's fine.
Exactly.
As I do it again.
Exactly. All right. Welcome to another episode of the OC podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Kenzie Ricky. How are you today?
I'm good. I want to wish a happy new year. Shana Tova to Seth and Sandy and any of our listeners that are Jewish. Seth and Sandy probably aren't listening, and the actors that play them aren't Jewish, but still, happy new year to them.
Yeah, happy new year to you as well, Kenzie.
Thanks.
Folks, as always, what we do each and every week on the podcast, we watch an episode, we review the episode, we talk about some things that we like throughout the episode, we give an MVP, maybe a couple fun facts, maybe a couple things here and there. I'm excited to dive into this episode. We are on season 1, episode 6, titled The Girlfriend. Scandalous.
Super scandalous.
On his birthday, Kirsten's father pays a visit to Newport with his new 24-year-old girlfriend, but things get messy when the girlfriend makes advances towards Ryan. It's actually
pretty fine. It's decent.
It's not
it's
a bad.
Not great, but it's not bad.
Out of the 6 episodes we've had, that's probably.
I think I would rank this number 1.
Easily. All right, so I wanted you to kick off because obviously the centerpiece of the conversation is something about being Jewish. So the first conversation we have, the introduction we have there, I want you to kick it off.
It's so funny. So I didn't realize that the show went 6 episodes without Caleb because Caleb becomes quite a central figure of the show. But you're right away introduced to Sandy and Kirsten discussing that Kirsten's dad does not like Sandy. And it's really funny because the way Sandy discusses it is so lighthearted, but I don't know if you felt like this. The things he was saying are not lighthearted, like at all. Like my favorite quotes so first he's like, they show them unloading groceries and the car is just filled to the max. Like every square foot of this car is food.
So before we finish, I really want to ask you, how much money do you think there was in groceries there?
I easily like at least $500.
I agree. Okay.
Because they had that big chip thing. And I'm like, that was like $20. Just easily. Chips. And there are all these bags you can't even see what's in them. Plus all of the charcoal for the grill. So pricey grocery splurge. And you never even really see them eat. So I don't really understand.
Exactly.
But so Sandy goes, are we worried your dad won't love us if we don't feed him enough? And I'm like, right off the bat, he's making jokes about Caleb's arrival. Then when they cut to them in the kitchen, Kirsten's like, maybe you two can finally get along this weekend. He was like, oh, we should try. Oh, wait, we can't. I'm Jewish. And I was just like, I understand it's funny, but like, that's like such a deep-hearted, like, root of hatred, like not
exactly
funny.
Like it was this moment where he's like joking,
but it's not funny.
It's not funny at all because it's really like that's troubling. Poor Sandy.
It's really funny because like they always bring up how different the two of them are, that Sandy's Jewish and from the Bronx and was brought up poor, and like his mom had a job that didn't benefit the family but other people, and Kirsten was like wealthy from California, blonde hair, super like Gentile, like and it's just really funny that like Sandy's in on it too. Like,
oh, absolutely. It's so funny because he has no problem making light of any situation.
It's super obviously needed with a father-in-law like this guy, because I mean, they bring up that like even Kirsten's kind of scared of him, and it's so funny because they're having this whole conversation. He's like, you're scared of him, like he's your dad, you shouldn't feel like that about your dad, like he shouldn't instill fear in you. And then the refrigerator door is closed, and then you hear someone go, well, what should a father, like it's the funniest intro to Caleb because it's so Caleb, like
it really is.
And then he's like, shalom, Sandy, and it's just so awkward to hear him say shalom. Like, it's so funny. It's
so good.
It's perfect entrance.
It really is. I loved it. One of my favorite things right away, he says before we get introduced him to Caleb is, I wonder what his new girlfriend is like, is what Kirsten says. He goes, I'm sure she's well paid.
It's so like, God.
And Kirsten gives him this look, and then he he does the typical dad thing. He's like, he's proud of himself because it's such a great joke. And he goes, I'm on fire.
And then he keeps saying them. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I'm just getting them out of my system. And it's so funny because you're like, he would have to do that because Sandy is always like zinging people. But it's very, very clear that Kirsten's dad does not put up with it. Like,
which I think I don't know if it's correlated this way on purpose, but for me, it's we see the quick-wittedness from Seth a little bit later on. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, obviously with Caleb. But it's like it's funny to me. I feel like there's like a little coincidence. They drop little droplings of this, and then later on, you're like, yeah, Seth is just like Sandy, right? You know what I mean?
So funny.
They obviously, in this world, they're related. You know what I mean? There's his son, but it's so funny to watch the dynamic. Kind of maybe I'm
like when they're not in the same room, and you're like, that's exactly what Sandy would do. It's like it's just so perfect.
It's like it's great writing, it's great acting, it's great everything.
Solid character development. We love to see it. But I love when they show Seth and Ryan like unloading the groceries, and he's like, he doesn't even know you burned down his house. Like it's not on his radar. He has like 30 houses. Like he won't notice. And then Caleb comes out, hugs Seth. He's like, you're still not a football player. Like, was he ever gonna be? Like, I'm so confused by this comment. And then he's like, oh, you must be the one that burned down my house. Like 2 minutes after Seth is like, he doesn't even know. He has no idea what happened.
And he takes Seth and just takes him in the house and just doesn't even like.
He's like, you should get that. Put that by the grill.
Yeah. Like, his only acknowledgement of Ryan is, and Ryan, because Seth builds it up as, oh man, he doesn't even know who you are. And the first line out of his mouth, oh look, it's the kid that burned down my house. And it's like,
it's so funny because it's like, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like when you go with a friend to visit their family or something, they're like, they're not scary, they're fine. And then you get in the house and they're all together and you're just kind of like alone, like terrified. And then they're not nice. And you're like, what is going on? Like
you built it up in my head that this was going to go
like,
so many different
I was going to
ways.
walk into this welcoming experience. And it's like, can you put the bag of rocks by the grill? Thanks.
Yeah.
Like Ryan's not the help. He's like part of their family.
Exactly.
Like,
it's like, you
but
go
it's
over to
so Caleb.
Oh my God, absolutely. And the funny thing, it's like whenever you go over to a friend's house and like you go into the pantry to get a bag of potato chips or something, and they're like, they yell at your friend, what are they doing in the cabinet? Like you can hear what they're saying.
Like,
you know what I mean?
It's not like I'm deaf. Like
yeah,
there's not really a wall between us. Like we're all in the same kitchen.
It's like the same instance, except for,
it's so funny.
But that's, I mean, the one thing I will say about Caleb that you kind of like right away and you kind of like throughout the episode is he's very blunt, right? You know what I mean? He is an asshole.
He's exactly what you expect. Like he doesn't, he's not going to like talk about someone. I mean, he will talk about someone when they're not in the room, but he would also say it to their face.
100%. That's the thing that I love about.
At the end of the episode, he has this moment that's not shown to us. And I was like, Caleb's a pretty funny guy. Like,
Exactly. Obviously as Ryan's putting the stuff up, his reaction to technically, which would be potentially his grandmother, which is very awkward, as she's only like 6 years older than him. Really, I guess 17, 18, you know what I mean? She's like 24, yeah. So 6-7 years older than him. But his reaction obviously is priceless. You know what I mean? It's
so funny.
I don't even remember her name. Gabrielle. She's obviously getting out of the pool and she's supermodel-esque.
Can we talk about like if you showed up to someone? So if you were dating someone, you show up to their children's house. Would you skip saying hello to them and jump in the pool?
Okay.
Because Caleb is like, they're like, where's your girlfriend? He's like, right. She's taking a swim. And I'm like, is that normal? Like to just not say hello to the people and just go around the
I would think somebody broke into my house. Right.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Because if you think about it, like you're just within a matter of moments, you're just introduced the fact that Caleb is in fact there, right? Because they don't think that he's there yet. So he walks in on the conversation. So the matter of time he's been there has got to been like no less than an hour or so, maybe less than that.
Yeah.
And she's already in a bikini in the pool. Swimming.
It's very bizarre. And it's like the pool house is Ryan's room. So she could not have used that. Right. I don't know. It's really weird.
It's very interesting to how fast it was just like, I just didn't understand. So, and then of course we had the one line before the music hits. Oh my God, that could be my grandma.
So good. It's so funny. Seth like knows how to be like, he's not creepy, but his
Right.
actions could be perceived as creepy if it wasn't
Absolutely.
Seth.
Absolutely.
And the way he addresses situations, like that could have been a really creepy line, but like it was really funny.
The delivery, consistent delivery. You know what I mean? It reminds me of the delivery from him all the time. You know what I mean? And one of those moments you think that kind of Sandy would say. Let's see here. So
then Gabrielle has really great advice for them when they're all in the hot tub together.
Yes.
She's like, who you is bringing to this party? It's like the biggest party of the year, right? And she's like, you're not bringing anybody? She's like, 2 handsome guys like yourselves? And Seth is like, are you still being sarcastic? She's like, no. It's so funny. But she had really great advice for them. She was like, get out there, go. Like, she can't say yes to you if you don't ask her. And I was like, you tell them, Gabrielle. Like, I was judging you for not saying hello to the people's house you're at, just wandering into their pool. But you know what? In for a dip. Solid advice. We'll excuse it.
Absolutely. Obviously, we have we have quite an interesting moment where Caleb says a lot of messed up stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like, I love
the way he talks to Kirsten.
Oh my god!
It's top 5 most uncomfortable things I've ever witnessed. Like,
you adopted a kid without telling me.
He just because he's like, you don't need my approval for stuff about work, as he's scolding her for not getting his approval
for adopting a kid.
And she's like, I wouldn't build anything without consulting you. I was just getting like options. And he's like, you don't need my approval, but how could you do that? And I'm like, and then he's like, kind of like you just adopted a child without consulting me. I'm like, oh my God. Right. And he keeps calling him the boy. And I'm like, his name is Ryan. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just so uncomfortable. And then she goes straight into like, he's like, I'm going to relieve you of your responsibilities. And he's like, so you can spend more time with your new family. And I'm like,
right. What a dick move. Like, it was uncomfortable. The whole entire thing's obviously uncomfortable.
And in front of Sandy. Like, it wasn't even like a private conversation. Like, I'm glad Sandy was there. But like, to do that in front of someone is so, like, I hate it.
Yeah, like, it's a testament to what we talked about earlier. Like, he's not afraid to have a grown folk conversation, even with Caleb in the room, understanding, like, Caleb's mind, this is all my money. It's my house. This is my house too.
Oh my God, when he's like going off on Sandy and he's like, this is my house. I built this. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Talk about worst father-in-law of the year.
Absolutely. It's terrifying. We switched to Julie.
So my last note was I hate Caleb. And then my next note is I hate Julie.
It's funny. My next note is Julie is straight trash.
I think Julie and Caleb are both well-written, horrible people.
Fantastic.
Because I love watching them. Like, I hate watching them, but I love them.
Yeah.
They're fascinating.
The difference between with them and Summer right now is Summer is very badly written, and that's why we hate her.
Yeah.
Julie and Caleb are so well written that you hate them. It's like Luke too. You know what I mean? You don't like Luke. Luke is just garbage human being. And we find that out a little bit more later.
I forgot he got shot and he had like a bandage on, and they were like, well, you can't go to the beach already. And I was like, what happened to him? Like I forgot he got shot.
So they showed the scenes, right? Obviously the previous episode there with the gunshot. I heard the gunshot a lot louder this time than I did the previous.
Weird.
It was so strange.
I wonder why. That's so weird. Because it was really like faint.
It was completely awkward.
If it had been louder, I would have remembered he got shot. Because Marissa's like, you can't go to the beach this early. And I'm like, in the day? Like,
exactly.
What's going on? Like, it's just like, because it was such a, like, it was a graze. It wasn't really anything. I just, like, completely wrote it off.
Like it never even really happened, really, to be honest.
I just, like, hate Luke. I block out Luke's storylines.
Oh, God, dude.
Sorry, Chris Carmack, if you're listening. You're pretty funny.
You go again. I mean, I tagged him. I mean, he's bound to see one of these, and
he's gonna be like, I was gonna come on until this Kenzie girl was like, I hate Luke. I'm like,
absolutely mean to me the entire time. And I'm here to defend.
Who's worse, Luke or Jimmy?
I think Jimmy has good in him.
See, that's what's so funny is I'm like, I think Luke could grow because he's a teenager. Like Jimmy acts like a teenager, but he's
That's
like
a great
40.
point. Okay,
Like,
so
get
wait
it
a minute.
together, bro.
Oh,
Like,
wait a minute. No. I just never mind. I just recalled in my head what happens in this episode,
no,
next episode, one of the two episodes, and I just remembered it, and now I remembered it.
You're revoking Jimmy's privilege.
Jimmy's done. Jimmy's dead.
Jimmy's done. Jimmy's
Luke,
dead to
it's
us.
definitely Luke. I like Luke better than Jimmy. Julie's the worst
so
than all
funny.
of them.
I
she
don't
doesn't
like
have
the
a
way
moment.
Julie, like, we cut to her. She rolls up in his office. She's like, "What are you doing?" And like, it's such a casual conversation. And then she's like, "Well, I want a divorce." I'm like,
He
where
was
did
all
this come
excited because
from?
he was about to tell her about this whole grand, like he's got his computer loaded up.
He has this little Jimmy Cooper's investment check history bar
Yeah.
graphs.
Like,
I'm
he's
like,
ready to go.
and Julie's like, China, we got rid of China. Caitlin had to say goodbye to her pony. I guess she doesn't need these props anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want a divorce. I was like, what? Where did this come? Like, this wasn't
What an interesting
direct-
change of words, right?
It was so weird. It was such a weird exchange, and like,
hate her.
I'm surprised Julie wasn't more dramatic about it. To be honest with you,
She was just blunt about it, which is strange.
very weird. Very weird.
Obviously, our next moment is Ryan. Gabrielle gave him the balls, right? You know what I mean? He gave him the confidence that he needed to go next.
It's really funny because he was so like timid, and then in this scene, he's like,
I'm ready.
You know, like he like shows up all like standing up straight,
which is
like,
very weird because if you recall in the last episode where he asked her out on the date the first time, he kind of nonchalantly just asked, "Do you want to hang out together?" But then the next time he sees her, he kind of is like, "You know what? Yeah, I was talking about asking you out on a date."
Yeah,
but this time it's like, I don't know if I really want to ask her or not.
It's weird. It's weird.
So
but I think it's because like the last interaction
obviously
was
the
them
whole
at the
shot
hospital.
thing happened.
Yeah,
the whole shot thing happened, right? And then she
it was like her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah,
I
she
love
came to Luke
that Gabrielle calls Luke a paste eater the entire episode. Like, it's so funny. Like,
I forgot that was a great line early on. She knows the guy since he's been eating paste. Oh my god.
It's such a weird like thing, but it's so true. Like, she knows too much about him. Like, she doesn't really know herself without him. But this is why I'm pro Marissa not dating anyone. And Marissa can't do that. Marissa always gotta have a boyfriend.
Exactly. She's one of those, you know what I mean, that has to be in a relationship.
Can't be alone.
Obviously, as he goes over there, you know, handy bandy, you know, Luke.
Douche and Luke combined.
Luke and Duke.
Sorry if anybody listening is named Duke.
Exactly. He comes up the steps and ruins the moment. Ryan is just
okay. Did he do it on purpose?
I 1000% believe he did.
Because it was really awkward because he is like, "Hey, dude," like he actually is genuinely like nice to Ryan.
Yeah, first time
and
ever.
I was like, but you definitely like were like, Marissa can't be talking to him alone. That's why he went upstairs. Like, it was really weird.
Because it's a big house.
It's a big house.
So I don't know where. Obviously, I don't have the layout of the
because
land.
wasn't he like in her bedroom?
Right. He left her. She left him in the room.
Yeah,
right?
It was weird.
So yeah, it was. He absolutely looked out a window or something, heard Ryan's voice, and was like, "I need
absolutely
to run.
not."
Yeah, I need to go lay down my territory. We transition into Sandy talking to Kirsten, and telling her that it's time for her to wrap it up. You know what I mean? Quit. They can quit. She can quit her job. They can.
What did you think about this?
I don't know. I didn't like it. I
normally am like really on Sandy's side about things.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not really his decision. Like, he was too pushy.
Yeah, it was very unsandy like in this situation.
Yeah.
I really understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
But as
like,
you
if it
listen
makes
to
you
Kirsten,
that unhappy, you need to leave.
Right. You don't even need to be with Kirsten, right? Like that's even she calls him out on that, right? You know, I think it was a little bit later on, but it's such a weird moment that I wasn't a fan. This is the first time I think in 6 episodes where I was like, that's
yeah, it was really weird.
Like why? Like why? What do you? I I will say in between this battle here, I did think it was hilarious that they rescheduled their wedding 3 times and Caleb still didn't show up to the wedding. Still did not show up because he goes, "You walked yourself down the aisle."
It's disgusting. Like, it's so bad. But it's like, that's Caleb. I don't like. You know what's really weird? At several points in this episode, he talks about seeing Kirsten in the office, but they made the biggest deal about him coming to their house. If she sees him Monday through Friday, why is it such a big deal that he comes?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense at all. It was just it was a very weird moment, I guess you could say.
It was weird. He can have an opinion. You should quit your job if it makes you unhappy, but don't be so pushy about it.
Yeah, it was like,
and like, you cannot talk about your like in-laws like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a line, and Sandy definitely crossed it.
Oh,
I didn't like it.
Not only did he cross it, he jumped on top of it, stomped on top of it. It was a very, very, very awkward moment for me personally as well. So I wasn't exactly the biggest a fan of this moment. We transitioned to okay, so we transitioned. This line was literally when the Summer again, right? She says one of the stupidest. Summer just said, "Fast and the Furious was based on a true story."
I wrote it down too. It's so uncomfortable. It's like, what? Because she's talking about, like, you had no chance with Chino. He's from Chino. They race cars there, have sex on car. Like, I don't know what was up with all the cars. And then she's like, Marissa's like, "Are you talking about Fast and the Furious?" And she's like, "Fast and the Furious is based on a true story." And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's so dumb.
Like, I just felt so stupid, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, this can't be real, right? You know what I mean? I'm thinking in my head, like, she really didn't. Again, it's a testament to her bad writing.
It's so bad. I don't understand, like, who takes over and is like, Summer is going to be well written and actually be smart.
Yeah, because it's terrible right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I did notice about the scene. This is the first time in the entire 6 episodes, we're 6 episodes in, that Summer had more clothes on than Marissa.
Marissa.
Right?
That's so funny.
Like this is like for me, I don't know what it is, because like obviously we've talked about we've expressed our opinion on how we feel about Summer and kind of her outfits and how she's basically half naked the entire time. So like for some reason in my head, like I go right to what she's wearing, right? You know what I mean?
She's wearing a whole t-shirt this time. Exactly. It was so weird.
It was
Marissa was in a swimsuit. Very weird.
And it's so weird. It's like, and then she goes, "Who's winning right now?" Or Seth goes, "Who's winning right now? Me or my hair?" I'm just like,
it's so funny. It's so funny because actually in the next episode, I noticed he really needed a haircut. It was a little long. So
yes,
maybe this was like his haircut day. He's like,
he needed to figure it out. What happens next? Obviously they pull up on the, Summer and Marissa having lunch, right?
Can we talk about how much food was on their trays? It was so much food.
So much.
I was like, were they expecting them? Like, it was so much food, and I don't believe that someone eats that many burritos in a swimsuit. I'm sorry.
So Ryan's obviously trying to bail because he knows that Luke is.
It's awkward.
You know, but I have a question for you. Luke invites Marissa to Kirsten's dad's party, knowing Ryan would be there at Ryan's house.
This is what I was talking about with the whole, did Luke come upstairs on purpose? Because Luke knows that Julie is probably invited because she's neighbors with them. And since Jimmy wouldn't go, that she would bring Marissa. So he's like, I should go and bring Marissa because I'm sure Luke's parents are going.
Right.
Because they later in the series, they address that Luke's parents are like well-liked within the community. So I think he probably wanted to keep an eye on Marissa and make sure he was there.
Absolutely. But it's just, to me, it's very strange to invite somebody else.
Yeah.
to the person that's hosting the party's
Like,
house.
if
You know?
I had been Luke, I would have been like, do you want to go on a date or something?
Right.
Elsewhere.
Right.
Not
But
to that.
instead,
It's very weird.
yeah. We have this very awkward moment, which I called it the lick it scene.
It's so dumb.
It's so bad.
I don't like all the ways they make Seth physically touch Summer to like bring up I don't know, it's weird. It's really weird and uncomfortable. And she's like, it's picante sauce. I don't like it. As she scooped up so much other stuff that's like picante adjacent that I'm like, there's no way you don't like it. I would have been understanding if she'd been like, I don't like spicy food. But she had like 3 cups full of jalapeno slices.
Yeah.
She had a bunch of salsa, pico de gallo. Like, I don't believe you that you don't like picante. Summer.
I just it was a strange moment. Like,
very strange.
Just lick it. Like, what? That's
and then
the
she's
line.
like, I just got my nails done. It'll mess it up. And I'm like, so you want him to lick the nail polish? Like, I'm so confused.
Right? Like, what? Oh my God. Like, I don't know. Again, with the Summer with the bad lines, right?
Such bad lines.
And then, of course, that follow
invites herself.
Yes.
She's like, aren't you going to invite me to your grandpa's birthday party?
Which
I'm like,
is what he wanted to do, but obviously she's got a method behind her madness, right?
So icky.
Right. So
I hate hating Summer.
Me too. It's bad. It's so like
I hate it.
Okay, so we're like I said, 5.5, almost 6 episodes fully into this. Has she had so far? Has she had a moment where it's like, yeah, this is I like
No,
Summer.
because even when she is like saying redeeming things, she says them in unredeeming ways. So I'm like, like she always calls Luke a boy and says Luke doesn't understand, but then she pushes Marissa to get back with Luke. So I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
And the way she talks about Ryan is so disgusting.
Oh
like,
my God,
I hate
yes.
it.
It's yeah, he's
It's
trash.
horrible.
He's second-rate trash.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
We transitioned to the dinner. This is the moment I was talking about earlier when I said that I love the playbacks to the writing and where Seth and has that quick wit that Sandy does and the way they write it. Obviously we had this awkward moment where Caleb goes less time. Oh, they were talking about dinner. First off, I love the fact that Seth roast his mom.
It's so funny because
no
Gabrielle's like, "This is delicious, Kirsten." She's like, "Thank you. I order from them all the time." And then Seth is like, "What?"
Because I think Caleb goes less time at work, more time in the kitchen, and I think
Sandy's like,
yeah,
he's like, yeah, Kirsten's favorite place to be, the kitchen. And then Seth is like, Dad, what are you talking about? Mom can't even make cereal. It's so funny.
And he's like, I love you too, Seth. He's like, I love you too, Mom.
It's so funny.
It's so good. So good. Okay. So again, the perfect quick wit right there. But Caleb goes, you have a quick wit. Amazing. You're not better at skirt chasing. First off, ew.
Who's the skirt chasing?
But the follow-up, well, if by skirts you mean girls in your outdated cowboy speak. He said,
that's really good.
I'm going to prefix really by everybody saying that is my favorite quote of the episode. Okay.
It's such a good one.
I had to say it now because it happens.
I love that everyone's scared of Caleb except Seth, which is so funny because Caleb hates Sandy and Seth is a baby Sandy.
Yes.
You know, but like,
because I mean,
Caleb appears to like Seth, which is so weird.
He has his moments where he kind of.
I see him give Seth that look like, shut up. I don't want to listen to this. But he genuinely, like when he first gets to the house, he's excited to see Seth. He's like, where's my grandson? Like, yeah, really excited. And he like is interested in what Seth is doing day to day.
Yeah. And then, but that's like when he's excited to see him, but then the first thing he says is, oh, you're not a football player yet.
Yeah, like he's still not completely
he needs
proud.
to insult him first, then
before
before he
very true. It's I do want to bring up, so do you guys have Trader Joe's?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay. So there's this thing called Charles Schwab, but we call it $2 Chuck. It's $2 wine. You buy it for cooking, or if you're like on a budget, like wine. That is the wine that is on the table. Will someone explain to me why they have $2 Chuck? I I know it was probably for filming, but put a different label over it. I paused
Especially
it and I
whenever you
was
have
like,
Caleb
no
at the
way.
table.
Exactly. And
Right.
Caleb was the one drinking it.
Right.
And I was like, this is so weird. Especially later when they talk about what his favorite champagne is. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, because
So bizarre.
he's not drinking $2 wine. This
I
guy's
don't
drinking,
even drink $2 Chuck. Like,
yeah, exactly.
come
Right.
on.
Yeah, that
Just put a different label on that prop.
like you tweeted that out, I believe, right? I believe you tweeted that out.
I
Yeah,
couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't understand. I don't know.
Obviously, we're coming out with the moment where he's telling everybody that he's got a date. You know,
It's so cute.
Seth's very excited, but Sandy with another fantastic line. Sandy goes, "Summer is hot," and like it just
he calls her hot so many times, and I'm like,
there's another moment later on where like we'll talk about it obviously, but I might have been in the next episode. But it's so funny. It's
so funny because he's just like a proud dad. Like he can't believe Seth is
like, oh my god, my son
is dating like that girl. Like that's impressive. Like it's so funny.
And Seth just takes it as like it's straight embarrassment.
He's like, Dad, stop. And it's so funny because can you imagine being embarrassed if Sandy was your dad? I'd be like, hell yeah, Sandy Cohen and them eyebrows, like
like if Summer was that, you know how she's weird about Jimmy, you know what I mean? She's got this weird fascination, like that weird infatuation with Jimmy, like walking in on her butt ass naked or whatever. Like if it was Sandy, I'd be like, well, I understand that, but we have Jimmy on the other hand. It's like I don't understand that. Like it's
even made worse because like she clearly knows Jimmy's personality, and I'm like,
yeah, exactly, yeah,
what?
Yeah, Jimmy's not a good person. Not a good person at all.
It's very weird.
Who else? Who says smoking the weed? Can we talk about that? Who says it like that? Exactly.
It's so awful. Only someone like Caleb would say it. Smoking the weed.
You're still smoking the weed.
I literally was like, he didn't say that because I have the subtitles now when I watch it, and it said it, and I was like, that's just bad subtitles. And I rewinded it, and I was like, nope, he definitely said it. So bizarre. And then Seth overhears that.
Oh my god,
that's what he overhears. He's like, Dad, you smoke weed? And they're like, this is a private conversation, Seth. And then all you hear is Seth going back into the dining room. He's like, Ryan, guess who's a stoner? It's so funny. Oh god,
yeah, because then he says to Ryan, we got to search for my dad's stash later.
It's so funny. I hated this argument though. It was almost as bad as like the previous argument. Like Kirsten is obviously like really guarded, but she doesn't need someone to speak up for her. They've made that abundantly clear, and it was very unlike Sandy to do this.
I think in his head he was very gun-ho about this like moment, and he felt like this was his moment or maybe his opportunity to kind of make the move to get the hell out of there, because as much as he loves being there, as much as he wishes, you know, the big bright, you know, fancy stuff. He even says it before that he does like the OC. You know what I mean? There's times where he does like it. You know what I mean? But it was very, very unsandy, like again, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like of all times where we see this version of Sandy that we're not sure of, like this is a weird moment, right? He stood up before, which I was okay with him standing up and saying, I'm not going to defend Jimmy, right? You know what I mean? I'm not going to like, that's no, I was okay with that, right? Yeah. I was okay with the uncomfortable conversation about giving Jimmy money. He wasn't less concerned about the money than he was you hiding it from me. So it's very weird to get this version of Sandy that we've never seen before, and I'm not a fan of it. And bring it up in front of her dad, right?
He's like, she wants to quit. And I'm like, what? But let her discuss this. Like,
when did this happen, by the way? Like, they had the conversation and she just kind of shut it down. Maybe they had it off the air, I guess. But like, he was like, she's quitting.
Yeah, it was like really weird. And like, he was like, she doesn't just want to quit because of the job. She specifically wants to quit because of you. And I'm like, it's not just her boss, it's her dad. And that's none of your business. Like,
it's so awkward.
Because if she was going to quit, she wouldn't do it with Sandy there, because that's not how you quit a job.
No, absolutely not.
And then we cut to the pool house. Would this episode air present day?
Yeah. Oh man. How old's Ryan?
17.
He's 17, right?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
I won't lie, like it made me uncomfortable. Like it's weird. And like
it's
what I
very
don't get
weird.
about it is Gabrielle is in this situation, which she kind of explains later. Well, she kind of talks about she's bored and that's why she wants to do this. And I'm just like, doesn't she realize like Ryan has this great setup he just got into?
Right.
Like you're jeopardizing that for him. It makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're
Like,
about to blow his cover.
yeah, because
Yeah.
like, yeah, you get caught, Caleb dumps you and moves on to the next one, but like that's not the same for Ryan. And Ryan's already on thin ice with this guy. Like,
Yeah. 100%. He doesn't even like him. He burned his house down. That's the only conversation they've really had so far.
yeah,
Even at the
like
dinner table, he doesn't even acknowledge Ryan's existence.
not
You know
at
what I mean? Like
all. It's like, oh, I don't like it.
it's a weird moment. As it transpires throughout the episode, I don't understand why it happened.
Because even when she visits him at work, she's like, I need a drink, and he's like, I can't serve you, and she's like, that's right, you're not legal. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so cringy.
But you only have to be 21, or you have to be 21 to serve, though. So like that's, I mean, we know that Ryan's 17, though. That's
but the way
so
she
cringy.
says it is so creepy.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like
so that's my question to you is like whenever I got towards the end of the episode, we're kind of closing in on there, but that's my question to you. Like, what was the purpose? I don't understand. Like, obviously the part leads it up to the one moment. That's why it was.
I think that's.
But why did it have to be her? Like,
it's really weird.
It's weird. It's awkward.
I think because it was like they haven't started school, so Ryan has no way to meet other people outside of Marissa's clique, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I love when scandalous moment, Ryan and Gabrielle kiss. They cut to Ryan and Seth in the pool the next day. And Seth is being so funny. He's like, so I saw that look at the dinner table. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. What's going on? What's going on? He's like, yeah, I hooked up with her. And he's like, what? You hooked up with my grandma? It's so funny.
It's so funny.
So good. I just love that Seth is like trying to be a detective. Like he's like, I noticed this, exhibit A. And then Ryan's just like, yeah, I hooked up with her. What?
You pay attention.
It's so funny.
And how weird is it? You hooked, like, who's first off hooked up? Like they didn't. They made out. They made out. Like is that?
And like very briefly.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a very. Yeah, I mean, hooked up. In my opinion, it was. They did what they did the whole entire deed. Like hooked up. Yeah. Hooked up.
Yeah.
You could have just said, "I made out with her."
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird.
Okay. Real quick question. I demand answers. How much does birthday cost?
Okay, actually, wait. I meant to. I think it's the size of a wedding. I don't understand.
Right. They said it's about 200 people. They said. She
said, "It's me, you, the family, and 150 of your closest friends."
150, yes.
But I just love okay. They are talking about the wine. They're like, this is the champagne he loves, Dom Perignon, 73. $772 a bottle, but they were having $2 chuck at dinner.
You need answers, right?
And when they show Caleb, he's not even drinking it. He's drinking red wine again. I demand answers about this birthday party.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very expensive.
It's crazy.
It's very crazy because to me it was very.
Like Caleb shows up.
Yes.
Sandy is very nice to him. But then he's like, Kirsten's like, you know what? I just want to forget about last night. And Caleb's like, for sure. But let me know when you're going to quit so I can find your replacement. Yep. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And
Called
then
me straight out, right?
It was so uncomfortable. Like I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because Kirsten was the bigger person and trying to put it to the side. And Caleb's like, yeah, let's do that. But just let me know when you're going to quit so I can find a replacement. Super uncomfortable.
Yep.
Then Gabrielle goes straight to Ryan.
In the middle of the party, there's people around.
I don't know. Very uncomfortable.
Yes.
I literally wrote down, does she want to get caught? I don't understand.
I literally wrote down myself, Gabrielle gives no fucks.
It's really weird.
It is.
And then Luke and Marissa show up.
Right. I've got a
Did you
question about this
notice
scene.
Marissa hugs Seth?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, it's very weird. I
It
don't
was,
understand.
I'm like, did they like hang out without us knowing? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Right. Somebody that she's lived next to her entire life, haven't really had a communication with. I mean,
I mean, we
obviously
were
the last.
talking about on the
Yeah.
last episode how cute their friendship is,
Right.
but like, it was just weird.
It's not hugging relationship yet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. And then Luke, I, I, I don't even know what to say. He's like, "Nice to see you, Cohen," and Cohen's like, "It is." And then he's like, "This is your place? It's beautiful." He's like, "Maris, want a drink?" And I'm like, first off, he's been calling her Coop, and now she's Maris. Not Marissa, just one letter short.
Right.
And then he walks away, and Seth looks at Summer, and he's like, "He got shot in the arm, not the head, right?"
My question is, okay, he says, "Do you want to go get a drink?" They're 17. Like the way he makes it sound like they're gonna go get an alcoholic beverage. Like,
Yeah, it's weird.
what are you gonna
Especially
do?
because, like, when you're underage and you're trying to drink, sorry if my mom's listening, you don't talk about it. You're like really on the DL. Like, you're not
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna go get a drink." Because if I said that, my mom would immediately try the drink I was caught with. Because we
Oh,
always had
absolutely.
like a big Christmas party growing up. And I used to always try to sneak drinks, and we'd always have to go somewhere else and like chug the drink so my mom wouldn't see you like carrying the drink. I
Absolutely.
don't know, it was weird, especially because like Marissa clearly has like an alcohol problem,
100%.
but I guess they don't really care. You know what I mean?
No,
But it
they're
is
not.
really funny if you notice, like at all the dinners at the Cohens, like
Yeah.
Ryan's drinking like lemonade in the wine glass. It's so funny. It's
It really
so
is.
like cute. But then sad Ryan seeing Marissa and Luke, like
Yeah.
super sad. Like,
Very
I'm
much.
like, bro, you knew it was gonna happen.
Yes.
I don't really get it.
I love when Sandy goes, "I wish I could apologize, but I can't."
He does this a lot where he like brings up he wishes he could apologize, and he's like, "But I'm not good at it." And I'm like,
who does
that
that?
isn't an apology.
No, not at all.
It's so weird because I'm like, Sandy's a great husband, great father, but is he? Like, because it seems like it's his way or no way. Like, but I kind of like this conversation because they don't like let their issues build. They
Right.
just straight up address them. They're not like defensive, but they're also not like hiding anything each of them did wrong.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
he's like, "I thought we agreed on it. Like, I didn't mean to overstep, but I think he did mean to overstep." But then she's like, "If you're saying that you've been unhappy this whole time, it's a much bigger conversation." And then they kind of cut away from it. But I appreciate that they, you know, when like you're fighting with someone, you kind of don't want to talk to them, so you just like ignore the situation. Like they're the opposite. They're like, "You know what? I'm going to go head on. We're going to discuss it. We're going to get over it."
I thought it interesting where they try to decide to have the conversation too. You know what I mean? Like it was.
I love that they show Ryan hiding in the pool house, and then Kirsten's also hiding. Like we always talk about Seth and Sandy being alike, but I really think Kirsten and Ryan are a lot alike.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's also funny because he's blonde with blue eyes. It kind of looks like Kirsten.
He's got a lot of him inside of him, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really sweet because it's like she was kind of like apprehensive about the whole thing, and I'm like, you guys are doing like the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's really cute. Can we talk about who shows up at this stupid party? Can we talk about who's like, "I'm gonna show up, make an appearance"? None other than Jimmy Sleazy Cooper. I literally forgot he shows up, so I forgot about the whole thing. I was drinking coffee, minding my own business, and literally did one of those spit takes. I was like, this is so embarrassing. Why did he have to show up? Why? I don't want to say I'm on Julie's side, but the whole time Julie was like, "You cannot do this." I was like, Julie's right.
Why are you here? Like, why are you here?
Because even Luke was like, "Look who's here," and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Everybody doesn't understand why he is physically at this party right now.
Because Gabrielle mentioned it earlier that this was like the who's who of Newport.
Right.
And then
all these people probably have been robbed blind by this man.
Yeah. Because we forgot to mention the worst line of the episode. Not best quote, worst quote. Summer says that Caleb Nichols is like the West Coast Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
And the who's who of the real estate world will be there.
Yes.
And I'm like, real estate people invest their money, which means Jimmy was involved with them, which means
Exactly.
every person in this room hates Jimmy Cooper.
And Jimmy
Like,
Cooper walks in nonchalantly, like
in like
he's
a t-shirt with a blazer on top. Like he didn't even try to like
he tried to pull
dress
this.
up.
He tried to pull the Sandy off.
But
Didn't
it
do very
doesn't
well.
work. It works for Sandy. Sandy has good
Absolutely.
intentions.
Absolutely.
And he's like, I'm gonna go ask Caleb for a job. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't. But he
Yeah,
does. And Julie is like, you absolutely cannot do this. Do not do this. Don't do this. And he's like, he
exactly.
loves me. He wanted me to propose to Kirsten, which is so awkward to tell your current wife that our neighbor's dad wanted me to propose.
It's so
It's
weird.
so
It's so bad. It's so bad. I don't
and
even.
then they cut to Marissa and Summer having girl time in the bathroom.
Yep.
Talking about how Marissa has yet to have sex with Luke.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's not going to wait for you forever. I'm like, bro, he has not been waiting for her.
Exactly. And
Like,
the thing about it is she knows that.
Yeah, because all those times she's been at the beach house.
Right. So you know that that Summer knows, which also like obviously talks about a different episode a little bit, but you know that Summer knows that he's been fooling around with other people. Like, first off, that makes you hate Summer even more. And the more that I think about it out loud, it's like, God, Summer sucks.
She's
like,
not even a good friend. I don't
she's a
understand.
terrible friend.
Like, so uncomfortable.
Yeah, first it's Julie telling Marissa she needs Luke. Now we've got Summer telling Marissa she has to sleep with Luke.
It's just so, I'm like, they were not together until like 30 minutes ago. Can you not pretend they need to be together and have sex
together or whatever?
It's very weird. It's so weird.
So awkward.
It's so weird.
Of course, we get the moment.
Yeah, super uncomfortable. How did Gabrielle know Ryan was hiding in the pool house? Like,
there's 150 people here.
Yeah, and the pool house is full of windows. Like, what am I missing? Like, I don't know. Like,
I understand he escaped from the party. He didn't want to be there. Doesn't want to see
Marissa
gavilanting around the party. But again, my question is, how did she see him leave? Okay, that's question one. Two, we have 150 people. Did she have just eyes for Ryan the entire time?
It's very weird. Like, every single time she finds him at this party, I'm like, how is she doing this? Because it's like, also, she's never been to this house before.
Right. Exactly.
It's super weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
It's very creepy.
And then she like comes on to Ryan and they have a full-blown makeout session. Like her dress pops off.
Yeah.
Marissa walks in and it's the most uncomfortable thing. She's like, I'm sorry. And then she's like, I'm sorry. And then she like walks away. I'm like, oh my God.
So I've got questions for you here on this particular moment. Okay. Why is Marissa mad?
Because she's in love with Ryan.
I understand. But how can she be mad at Ryan right now? I don't understand.
As someone who dated someone horrible and liked someone at like towards the end of my relationship, I liked someone else. And like I kept breaking up with this person and I liked someone else. I understand. Like she has her eye on him. She's looking at
her feelings are hurt. I get that.
She is it's a thing from Gossip Girl. I'm sorry, I'm stealing it. Marissa looks at men like life rafts. She's like, my life is falling apart. I need this to hang on to, which I kind of understand because Summer's like not a very nice friend at the beginning of the show.
Absolutely.
She doesn't really have anyone because you can now see like she was friends with Holly and like all of these people are fake friends to her. She needs someone to cling on to survive. She doesn't have a good mom. She has a bad dad. That's all falling apart. So she's like looking for someone to literally like save her well-being. And she thought it was Ryan. So it's not even just like she was in love with Ryan and that's like leaving. Like she literally is like, that could have been the only good thing going on in my life. And now I have to settle for Luke. Like I too would feel like that if I had to settle for Luke.
I get it. Obviously, I get she's upset. but
But she's
kind
like
of blows.
devastated
But like she shows up to his house or to this party
with a different guy.
She has several times really just kind of proven that she is in fact, just wants. She doesn't know where she wants to be. Like a mixed bag of feelings. Like they have a moment in the pool, right?
Yeah.
They have the moment, and then of course we get to the point where Luke gets shot, and then she's strangely doesn't talk to Ryan for a couple days and is back with Luke.
So bizarre.
So it's very weird. Can we talk about how awkward this moment with Jimmy obviously tries to talk to Gail, and he just blows him off like he
No, my favorite is that they look like they're having a great conversation. Julie like approaches kind of all happy, like, oh my God, I don't have to divorce him. Like he's gonna be rich. Right. She's like, looks like you got yourself a job. And he's like, oh yeah, Caleb was so nice to me when he told me he in no way could ever hire me. It was really funny because we were talking about how Caleb is so blunt with people, and he obviously was very blunt with this, and it was amazing. Right. Just so funny. Yep. And then Julie, being Julie, is like walking away, and Jimmy's like, where are you going? She's like, to finish what you started. And I'm like, oh, Julie's on his side. That's kind of nice, even though it's just about money. But then when she starts talking to Caleb, I see her true intentions. Yep. She is like, yeah, I saw you were talking to my soon-to-be ex-husband. And he's like, oh, you're divorcing him. And she's like, how could anyone expect me to stay with him after he left me with nothing?
Nothing.
And he's like, nothing? Nothing? And she's like, yeah, nothing. Nothing. I have nothing left. Me and the girls are alone. And he's like, we'll set something up. I'll take care of that. And you can like see the wheels turning, and it's so uncomfortable. God, so I hate it. I didn't want to watch it.
So disgusting.
It's horrible.
Then of course we see Summer gallivanting around the party.
And Seth is like getting really fed up the whole time. Like you can tell he's bored. And then he just full blown walks away from Summer, sitting by the pool. And Summer's like, can you please introduce me to some more people? And he's like, no more.
None.
And he starts like kind of professing his love for her. Like
such a sweet moment.
It's so sweet. The mermaid poem, feeding some squirrels.
Oh my God.
And then they kiss.
So good.
And then she's like, oh, that's an investment banker. I have to go talk to him. And I'm like, what?
Exactly. Another terrible line. I thought it, but it was such a sweet moment where he's reading.
It was so sweet.
Was it like 3rd grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, whatever it was? And it was such a sweet moment. He's just reading it and he memorizes it, right? You know what I mean? It's such it's that moment. It's like, oh my God, it happened, right? It happened.
Like you're so excited. This is happening for Seth.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, it's like, and then I love what his line, greatest party ever.
It's so funny.
Yeah, because he thinks it's about to happen, right? You know what I mean? Like this
is life changing.
This is the bag, Summer says forever. Sandy redeems himself, very much so. For sure.
So I like that he took the initiative to talk to Caleb on his own. Like it was nice. And
he hates him.
He hates him so much, like all of his being.
Yeah.
But he put that aside to like figure this out and redeem himself with the audience and Kirsten.
Absolutely.
I say the audience because I'm like, I don't like Sandy being on my bad side, but earlier really upset me. Okay. Like he crossed me.
Exactly.
But then I like the next moment with Caleb and Kirsten.
Such a good moment, right?
It's really sweet. And they kind of like explain her mom, which like we just assume if you've never seen this, you're like, Caleb is a rich bachelor dating young women, but they never brought up the mom. And then they bring on that like she died.
Yeah.
And they miss her. And it was really sweet.
Very sweet moment. And then of course you have the line where she goes, I just want to make you proud.
It was really sad because like I thought he would say something back and he kind of like
says nothing.
And I was like, damn.
I was so pissed.
I was like, I
just want you to be proud of me.
Silence.
And it's like, that's what every kid wants, right? They just want to make their parents proud of them. And it's such a sweet moment. You again, great camera angle because you see you pan in the background, you see Sandy is kind of watching the moment happen, which is a very sweet
Cute.
moment, you know, very
Yeah.
cute moment. He's very happy because he knows what he did kind of led to this conversation. But we get no reaction from Caleb.
It's super
Like he has this
uncomfortable.
moment where he kind of looks like he has
I thought he was gonna say something, and,
right. He has this warm spot in his heart that he's like,
but
you
nope.
know, I am proud of you, but he's too proud to say it to her. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's because Sandy called him out. He's like, you're just mad because she's better at this than you are. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Kirsten is why you are as rich as you are right now.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
like you
mean?
only want to like replace her or like diminish her duties so you can be back in the fold, like
Yeah.
pretending you did this.
And you know that, you know that I feel like, you know, deep down inside, Caleb understands he is proud of her, but
Yeah.
he has this reputation to uphold of having a soft spot, right? He's got the rich, you know, he's got the girlfriend that he's really just gallivanting around, the 24-year-old that's only with him for the money. He knows that she's the only reason she's with him is because of the money, that type of situation. And it's just, I don't know. I felt bad for Kirsten.
Yeah. It was sad.
Marissa and Luke get freaky. That happens.
It's so like uncomfortable that they put so much, like it shouldn't have been on screen. I don't know. It was weird.
They could have started it on screen or
Yeah, and
whatever.
then like,
You
but it
know,
was
Pan to
weird.
Ryan kind of had in the
Yeah,
backdrop a little bit. It was, I don't know. It was a very awkward moment.
it was weird. But all because of Gabrielle kissing Ryan.
Exactly.
Not
Yeah, which
really a good
led
way
to a
to.
really heartbreaking moment, right?
Yeah, God, it's so sad. It was one of the hardest endings so far. 6 episodes in, this is like a heart-wrenching ending, let me tell you.
God. You're too
Ryan
late for it.
catches Marissa coming home, being dropped off by Luke,
Yeah.
and she just turns around, just like, you're too late. And it's devastating.
It's heartbreaking. Because he knows, you know, we know what that means. You know what I mean? You know, they know that they got frisky. You know what I'm saying?
It was so sad.
It's upsetting.
Also, like, she decided to do that. I'm like, bro, like, look how it made you feel.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
Like, that wasn't the
exactly.
right decision.
Such a, again, very, very weird moment.
Super weird.
All right. So, question: who is your MVP?
So I went back and forth on this. Originally, I had Gabrielle. Originally, but because I like the way she like pepped up Ryan and stuff.
Yeah,
But I feel
yeah.
like she's really creepy.
Yeah.
So I actually went Caleb.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, I like it.
A strong entrance episode.
Absolutely.
Like first introduction to him.
Absolutely.
Already know everything you need to know about Caleb.
Yeah.
And he is always Caleb. He's never not Caleb, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I went Caleb.
Yeah, I'm really
Who'd you go?
I'm really upset. I was really hoping I was going to be the only one that went Caleb here. Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, you know, I was like, man, I thought about Seth early on. I was like, he had his moment finally.
But it wasn't like a Seth central episode, so it was kind of hard.
You know, I love his wit. I love his comments back. But I was like, man, it boils down to the writing of Caleb, right? And then, of course, the delivery by Alan Dale, right? You know, Alan Dale is great. You know what I mean? He's fantastic. And
so good.
And it's great writing. But at the
I
same
love
time,
that he is like obviously not super old, but he has like the grandpa bod, you know, like in the beginning
absolutely.
with his polo and his jeans up past his belly button. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So funny.
And he has this characteristic about him that he just is, you know, like who he is, right? You know what I mean? Like you know what he is, and he's honest, he's raw. You know what I mean? Is he not the nicest person? Absolutely not. But that's a testament to what we're watching. We're watching a TV show. You're supposed to hate Caleb, and they do a great job of very, very within the first 5 seconds that he's on the screen.
We hate him, but right? I can't stop watching him.
Exactly.
So it's
like
him
on every scene.
Best.
I want him on every scene. Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, I like that. I thought when you started saying I was going to go Gabrielle, I was like, oh man, she's going to go Caleb. I know it. She's going to go Caleb.
He was too good.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you. What do you got? A fun fact for us this week?
Yeah. The actress that plays Gabrielle, same age as Adam Brody and Benjamin McKenzie.
During the time this is episode?
Yeah.
Or just, oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I was like trying to find something and I could find all these like spoiler fun facts, but that one's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the OC podcast. Make sure to give Kenzie a follow on Twitter at Kenz Vanunu. Give myself a follow at Ricky Valera _. Thank you so much for tuning in and continuously supporting this. This is so awesome. I love the article. Kenzie put out an article this week, an OC-centric podcast, our OC-centric article this week about why Ryan Atwood is the funniest Cohen. It's a great piece. I think you guys should check it out, where she's going to be putting out some more of those in the near future. I'm very, very excited about that as well. Make sure to head over to the musiccitydrivein.com to check that out. And thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
We'll see you later.
Hey, there you go.
There I go.